Good morning. I want to share some thoughts with you that I picked up from James Montgomery Boyce and his, I would say, brilliant book. I've not read that much of it, but I've been super impressed with it. It's called Come to the Waters. It's a daily Bible devotional for spiritual refreshment, and I have found it thus. So in Genesis chapter 48, Jacob is dying, and he says to Joseph, Ephraim, and Manasseh, he says, I'm about to die, but God will be with you. Now that's a simple thing to say, God will be with you, and Emmanuel means God with us. It's also my dad's name, which is really cool. I've always loved that. And so let's talk about this from three different aspects. Some of you might be like Jacob, who are nearing the end of your life, and you can testify, God was with you. In retrospect, so many people of faith look back and they see that God was faithful, that He was better to us than we deserved. But as you look at what you're leaving behind, and one of the things that I figured out about preaching as I've grown older, as I've become a grandparent, is people are more concerned about their children and their grandchildren than they are just about themselves. Right? But here's the thing. And you might say, but some of my children aren't followers of Jesus, and some of my grandchildren aren't in the faith yet. And here's the question. God will be with you. Do you believe that? God will be with you. And that is what Jacob is saying to his sons, that God will be with you. The same way He sojourned with me, He will be with you. And so that long after we're gone, can you trust that He will be with the lives of your children, that He will not also bring your grandchildren to faith? And then there are those of us who are children and we're losing parents, and I've gone through that stage, and it's a difficult time. But also older relatives, people that we looked to, and I think of also leaders, people that are older than I am, that I look up to. And I believe in reverse mentoring, and I can learn a lot of stuff from people who are younger than I am. But how many times do we think, can I do this as well as my dad did? Can I do this as well as my mom did? Can I do this as well as that pastor that I used to admire? Because those people are gone. But here's the thing. God will be there for us as well. One of the things about being a lead pastor, and I know a lot of people just assume that everybody wants to be one. In a lot of ways, it was never really my choice. It was something that I kind of got thrust into a couple of different times. But one of the things about being a lead pastor is having to trust God in a way that you don't when you're working kind of under somebody else. Oh, I'm working under God. That's no question about that. But you learn to trust God in a way that you can't any other way. And so when your parents aren't there anymore, and some of the people you've looked up to, they aren't there anymore, then you have to look to God and you have to trust Him. And God does give wisdom, and it's so simple, but I think so profound, that what Jacob says to his youngest boys, I'm about to die, but God will be with you. And isn't that what Jesus promised? That He would be with us to the very end of the age, because all of us are going to graduate to glory, but God is faithful. Jesus promised to be with the church. He never changed His name from Emmanuel, which means God with us. He will never leave us until He has accomplished all that He says that He will do. And on that, you can trust that God will be with you. Have a great week.